And I know it's been such a long day. I normally would have gone live on Facebook to let everybody know that I was live, and I just was not able to get it done. So what we need you to do, good evening, good evening, good evening, and happy Monday. Hello, Sally from South Carolina. What I need everybody to do is I need everybody to tag and share, right? I need us to let everybody know that we are here. We had an amazing book club last week, and we wanted to make sure that we continue with what we started last week. So I am going to share this. Let me share it as well to let everybody know that we are live on book club. We don't want anybody to miss book club. And let me go ahead and hold on. That's not what I want. Here we go. This is what I need to share. This link right here. Share, create a post. Post something public to type at mention channel. All right, you guys. So I hope that you are having an amazing day. I just wanted to get that share. I think I can actually share this to Facebook from here too. So let's check. Let's check it out. I think so. This is. Let me see. All right, I think I did it right, y'all. All right, we are live. I think I did it right. So I hope that you all are having an amazing day. Let me know what city, what state, what country you might be logging in from. I see Philadelphia. I see Atlanta. We've got Canada in the house. Where else are you logging in from? South Carolina is in the house. Okay, so last week we talked from chapter, let me get it right, 8. One more question to ask ourselves. And I actually put the link. Good evening. Good evening. We got Flint, Michigan in the house. I actually put the link for the studio in our chats so that some people can come on to the back studio to start answering some of the questions that we were supposed to go over. So we talked about the one more questions to ask yourself to lead to an extraordinary life. And I'm hoping that many of you went through some of those questions. We went 1 to 11. And then there are several other questions, and there's a part of me, you guys, that feels like I should just let everybody read those questions if no one's going to come into the studio, because the rest of this chapter, let me kind of go to, because I don't see anybody in the studio yet. So I want to go to where it says, what are the answers? Answers to these questions may make you feel uncomfortable. Questions like, what more thing can I do to show my spouse or partner that I love them? How can I do one more thing to improve my relationship with my children? Questions like, what part of this situation can I control right now? And the crazy thing about that is we learned that Navy SEALs are all taught to determine or to know what part of this can I control or can I handle or fix right now, right? And so it says the answer to these questions may make you feel uncomfortable. Not always, but in many cases, to grow, the best answers will be the most difficult for you to address. I'm going to say that again. Answers to these questions may make you feel uncomfortable. Not always, but in many cases, to grow, the best answers will be the most difficult for you to address. What's up, Sean Dunnigan? I'm going to say that part again. The best answers will be the most difficult for you to address. Now, you've heard the saying that there are no dumb questions in life. That's not true. There are dumb questions. They're the ones you ask that don't challenge you. They're the ones that provide you with convenient truths. You only cheat yourself and waste time when you ask yourself yourself and others dumb questions. Making things even worse deep down, you know when you're doing this. Anybody want to be honest for a moment here? What's up right now? Anybody want to be honest for a moment here? Let us go back over that paragraph. We're not going to skim through this. You've heard the saying that there are no dumb questions in life. That is not true. There are dumb questions. They're the ones that you ask that don't challenge you. They're the ones that provide you with convenient truths. You only cheat yourself and waste time when you ask yourself and others dumb questions, making things even worse. Deep down, you know when you're doing this. I'm not stuck. Anybody? I guess everybody's kind of like, nope, I'm not admitting to none of that. Just gonna duck. I guess you're glad we're not on Zoom, so I can't really see you. This would have been a great one for us to be on Zoom, right? I guess everybody's like, glad we ain't on Zoom, so can't nobody see, right? So if you want to be average, if you're happy where you're at because you're comfortable, scared, lazy, and you don't want to know how to make your life better, then don't ask the questions that lead to your growth. Thank you. Marguerite says, well, I'm gonna admit to it, right? Listen to this. This says, if you want to be average, see, I coach a lot of people and I listen to a lot of people tell me that they want to get greater. They want to do X, Y, and Z. But this says, if you want to be average, if you're happy where you're at because you're comfortable, scared, or lazy, and you don't want to know how to make your life better, then don't ask the questions that lead to your growth. Because it is the questions that lead to your growth, you guys, that are not the easy ones. It's not comfortable. It's the questions that actually, that's why I know a lot of people steer clear of conversation with me, because they don't want to hear the truth. This says that lead to your growth. Nobody can force you to do anything that you don't want to do. The greatest gift is not being afraid to question. Ruby Dee once said, if you're not healthy enough to want to gift yourself with the truth, and then don't get to the end of your life with regrets. I'm gonna read that one again. That is so powerful. If you have the book, everybody should be underlining that. Ruby Dee once said, if you're not healthy enough to want to gift yourself with the truth, then don't get to the end of your life with regrets. That's so deep. Some questions won't have immediate answers. Don't assume defeat if you can't apply logic and solutions when that happens. An answer to a question you ask now may not come until later or not at all. Give yourself credit for having the courage to ask yourself the question and seek the answer. Remember, one question often leads you to another and another and another. Enlightenment travels a lot of different paths. Learn to live with the great unanswered questions in your life. Seek the answers daily. Some will come to you like a lightning bolt. Others will come to you over time. Either way, living with the extraordinary questions and answers of your life is one of the most admirable traits of a one more thinker. This is so powerful. I am going to read this. The greatest gift is not being afraid to question, rather. Ruby Dee once said, if you're not healthy enough to want to gift yourself with the truth, then don't get to the end of your life with regrets. So that is the end of chapter 8. Chapter 8 was about questions that were to spark your mind to think differently, to challenge you to think. Is there one more thing I can do to help somebody in pain who really needs me? What's one more way I can change my thinking so I complain less? How can I make one more change to my diet to lose this weight? What one more way can I be healthier? Is there one more thing I can I'm sorry, what's the one more thing that has provided me with the most bliss recently? How can I do one more thing to handle conflict better? Is there one more thing I can do to carve out more time to be mindful and intentional? What's the one more thing that I should do to stop holding grudges? What's one more thing I should do? What's one more thing I have learned in life that I can pass on to as a mentor to others? What's one more thing I can do to enjoy my work more? All self-exam. So the one thing that I recognize with all of these questions is that none of the answers had to do with anybody else. All of these questions, you have to look in the mirror and ask yourself these truths. And it says, if you are not healthy enough to want to gift yourself with truth, I've never even looked at the truth as a gift to myself. But what's the one more thing? Is there one more way that I can thank and honor my God for the gifts that I received just today? Was I curious enough to ask one more question to seek out answers to important questions in my life today? What's one more thing I can do to enjoy my work more? What's one more prayer I need to have or scripture that I need to hold closer in my faith life? In my work, is there one more way I can become an effective leader? What's the one more way to ensure my values are consistent with my standards and my goals? That my values are consistent with my standards and my goals. What's one more thing? Can I do one more thing to ask myself hard questions, even if I know I won't like the answers? What's one more way that I will practice gratitude? What's one more way that I can get more excited about my future? How can I implement one more way to worry less about the future? What's one more way I can worry less about the past? All of these are things that you've got to say, I got to look in that mirror and I got to have a powwow with the mirror, right? And so chapter 9, because it leads us right into chapter 9, which talks about one more goal. One more goal, GOAL. May he give you the desire of your heart and make all your plans succeed. Psalm 20:4. Throughout our lives, we've been inundated with systems, philosophies, and methods about how to set goals to make our life better. There's definitely no shortage of resources on the subject. It would be naive for me to think you're not already using some kind of strategy related to your goals. Instead, I want to improve how you approach your goals and goal setting process. Here's a good place to start. I believe that goals are energy. Goals are a life force. Goals are a state of being. They're more than a manifestation of the ideas, hopes, desires, and dreams that you have inside of you. The pursuit of your goals, when properly executed, is the transference of energy into action. I'm going to read that again because I think that this is so powerful, right? I believe that goals are energy. Goals are a life force. Goals are a state of being. They're more than a manifestation of the ideas, hopes, desires, and dreams you have inside of you. The pursuit of your goals, when properly executed, is the transference of energy into action. So it sounds like to me, no goal, no energy, no action. Thank you, Shannon. No goal, no energy, no action. No goal, no energy, no action. Because this is the pursuit of your goals. So let's look at what the definition of the word pursuit is. And you know what? Maybe I should have, hold on, y'all. Let me see if I can, because I don't think everybody knows that we're live yet. Still, because we normally have this is incredible to me. Hold on, y'all. Hold on. I gotta share this. Hold on. I gotta share this. I don't think enough people know that we are live on Book Club. This is so powerful. I'm gonna read that one again, y'all. I'm gonna read it again, but I just want to make sure that everybody knows that we're live, because what'll happen is we get off of here and then people be asking me all kind of things that will help them if they would just jump on Book Club. All right, so I just posted it 2 more spots. All right, so I see you in the studio, Sonia. So let's look up the definition of the word pursuit. Hold on one second, because we need to make sure we know what we're talking about, right? All right, let's look at the definition of the word pursuit. So let me read this again so that it says, I believe goals are energy. Goals are a life force. Goals are a state of being, right? They're more than a manifestation of the ideas, hopes, desires, and dreams that you have inside of you. But the pursuit of your goals, when properly executed, is the transference of energy into action, creating one of the purest forms of one more in your life. Hey, Miss Brenda. So now, what is pursuit? Pursuit is the action of following or pursuing someone or something. It's an activity of a specified kind, especially, where'd it go? Especially a recreational or athletic one. Pursuit is I don't like those definitions. Pursuit followed by zeal to consider by man. Hold on. Where's the definition I looked at earlier? One, an action of following or pursuing. An action of following. I like that. An action, the action of the hands follow. An action, but that is not the definition I looked at earlier. Sorry, y'all. I can't find it. All right, hold on. An activity that one engages in as a vocation, profession, or avocation. I cannot find what I was looking at earlier today. Pursuit. It is action, but I had a much better definition earlier of what pursuit was. Hold on, y'all. An activity that you spend time doing, usually when you are not working. Pursuit. What I liked about that, right? Listen, an activity that you spend time doing, usually when you're not working. Pursuit, right? Thank you, Shay. The act of trying to achieve, oh, here it is. This is the one I liked earlier. The act of trying to achieve a plan, activity, or situation, usually over a long period of time. The act of trying to achieve a plan. So this says the pursuit of your goals, the act of trying to achieve a plan, the pursuit of your goals, which is the act of trying to achieve a plan, when properly executed, is the transference of energy into action. So too often, though, goals aren't designed as a conscious decision to improve your life. This is so good. Too often, goals are not designed as a conscious decision to improve your life. Often, you set goals as a reaction or a response to something that is happening in your life. Uh-oh. Who want to come to the camera, and because y'all know we live, who wants to come and talk live about what we're just reading right here? I'm going to read that again because I don't even know if we can go past this page today. Sonia, listen to what he says. Too often, this is so key. Too often, though, goals aren't designed as a conscious decision to improve your life. I think that is so powerful that we're not making decisions that are designed consciously, like I'm going to improve my life. I'm going to meal prep so that I can lose this weight. I'm going to read these sets of books so that I can do what? Elevate my mind. I am going to get away from these toxic people so that I can do what? Have more peace. So goals, it says often, so listen, too often though goals aren't designed as a conscious decision to improve your life. Often you set goals as a reaction or a response to something that is happening in your life. Instead of playing defense, the key is to proactively fill your mind with the right kinds of thoughts about your goals. And when you do, your entire being is invigorated to accomplish those goals. I don't know about y'all, but wait a minute. When you do, it says Sonia, it's not just saying when you do, you're going to reach your goals. It says when you do, your entire being, like you're in from head to toe, it's like all of you. It says your entire being, wow, this is crazy, is invigorated to accomplish those goals. But then it says, listen, that's because the mind always gravitates to what is familiar with and draws in whatever resources are necessary to propel you forward. So that's because the mind gravitates to what's familiar. The mind always gravitates to what's familiar. So it sounds to me like consciousness is the key here. Consciousness is the important thing because we got to make the decision. Then we have to be conscious about the decision to propel our life forward based on the goals that we set in the pursuit of our goals. You know, we'll sing those songs in church. I'm chasing after you, no matter what I have to do, right? Because I need you more and more. And we say we're chasing after God. We say it. I hear people say it all the time. But are we really? Because when we're chasing after him, our mind is fixed. Our heart is pure. It's ready. It's ready for the change. It's ready for the level up. It's ready for it. But this says, when you do, your entire being is invigorated to accomplish those goals. Listen to this, though. That's because the mind always gravitates to what it is familiar with and draws in whatever resources are necessary to propel you forward. What you think leads to what you need. What we think leads to what we need. Yup. When you consciously access what you need, your mind sets about the business of making your goals a reality. Come on, y'all. What you think leads to what you need. So let's just say you're in business, right? And maybe you're not having success. It is because you don't think you need it. You good. There's no goal set. So because there's no goal set, you're not proactively filling your mind with the right kind of thoughts about your goal because there's no goal set. And even if you set a goal or tell somebody you got a goal, it's really only telling them so that you can feel like you said something, instead of it being a real goal. Like I knew that I had a real goal the other day and I was like, let me stop playing. And I set out to meet the goal and I went above the goal because I set out to meet the goal. And so what happened was my entire being was invigorated to accomplish the goal that I set for myself. Good evening. Does this make sense? So it says what you think leads to what you need. Not so here's the deal. Do you guys realize it didn't say what you think leads to what you want? It says what you think leads to what you need. When you consciously access what you need, your mind sets about the business of making your goals a reality. Oh my gosh. A reality. So then it says, listen, the relationship between standards and goals. The relationship between standards and goals. I go into standards in greater detail in chapter 10, but I want to briefly make sure you understand why goals and standards are linked together and how they work in tandem for your benefit. Many confuse the two, but they are not the same. You create goals based on desired outcomes that start as thoughts in your mind. For example, I'd like to make enough to donate $10,000 to my favorite charity, or I want to take a trip to Europe this summer, are worthy goals. But without a plan of attack to achieve those goals, they have a much less chance of becoming a reality. Your first order of business is to figure out why you're willing to tolerate to what you're is to figure out what you're willing to tolerate to meet those goals. Because if you don't figure out what you're willing to tolerate to meet those goals, you won't do anything, because the moment that something feels like it's pushing you a little too hard, you back down. Oh, I don't like the way that feels. Oh, I don't like that. So you back down because you haven't decided how much, people ask me often, well, Nina, what would you do to get such and such and such and such done? And my answer is always whatever it takes. Whatever it takes. Like, I knew that I had an extremely busy day today. I knew that I had to be up early, that I had my, that I knew getting my hair done today was going to take quite a long time. I knew that I was going to be sitting. So I stayed up till 2 a.m. getting all of my orders done, getting new, juice steep for all of my clients, because I always make sure I'm ahead so that I'm not playing catch up, or I'm not trying to make it happen at the last minute. I'm always ready, because when you stay ready, when you stay ready, you don't have to get ready. So my clients are never waiting on product because I'm always ready, because I have an expectation, Sonia, of what I'm going to be, how I'm going to produce the following day. And then if I don't Tedra, I have an expectation for business the following day, but I also don't sit around waiting for the business to come to me. Come on, y'all, because I proactively fill my mind with the right kind of thoughts about my goals. And when you do, your entire being is invigorated to accomplish the goals. That's what the book says. So, yes, I will prepare. Let's just say I prepare for 10 gallons for the next day, right? For my business. Then in my mind, I'm going to have no less than 10 customers. I go get it. I then put it in an atmosphere for it to happen. Did everybody got that? I put it in the atmosphere, but then I don't just sit. That's like a person that says, I need a job. God bless me with a job. And then, Sonia, they sit and they do nothing. They don't go look for a job. They don't go networking. They won't go to networking events. They don't go clean up their image on LinkedIn. They don't work that. Come on, y'all. They don't even go. They don't go to Craigslist. They don't ask, or they don't do nothing. They just sit on the couch, eat potato chips and pie and cake, and wait for it to happen. It's never going to happen that way. But the expectation, this talks about the expectation, the transference of your energy into action, the pursuit of your goals when properly executed is the transference of energy into action. So, is it safe to say if we don't see any action with anybody, is it safe to say that there was no goal set? Is it safe to say, because it says the pursuit of your goal when properly executed, and then it says what you think leads to what you need. So what does that say? What does that say now, Sham? What does that say? If what you think leads to what you need, then what that does is we don't even have to have conversations with people, because we can see what a person is really thinking, correct? Based on what this says. I mean, even the Bible says, as a man thinketh, so is he. So I'm just asking, is the assessment safe when we say we don't really need to have a conversation because we can see what you're thinking based on what you're doing or not doing? Is that correct? I mean, I'm just talking Bible. Now, the Bible says, as a man thinketh, so is he. And this book is saying what you think leads to what you need. I believe that's the same thing. I believe that he's using more secular terms when he's saying what you think leads to what you need. But the Bible says, as a man thinketh, so is he. As a man or a woman thinketh, right? Man is just a general, all right? It's just a general, not saying you are a man or that this is only for a man. But as a man thinketh, so is he. So if we're thinking about like all of the things, Sonia, that could go wrong, right, Janella? Like, well, what if this doesn't happen? Well, what if this doesn't happen? And what if this? And it's almost like this. Let me say this, Tedra. I wish you and Shammy would come into the studio with me, right? It's like saying this. Let's just say that I'm gonna just call this shrink juice, right? Let's just say this was called shrink juice, right, Sonia? And let's just say that I gave this to 100 people, and out of 100 people, right, 95 of them all lost 5 pounds or more. Is it safe to say if 95 people out of 100 people all lost 5 pounds or more from my shrink juice, is it safe to say that there is something that those 5 didn't do right? Is it safe to say that they perhaps didn't eat right either, right? Because there's no way, right, Sonia, that 95 people could drink this, lose 5 pounds or more, and then nothing happened for these 5 over here. Let's talk about it. Let me add a couple of y'all to the stream. Y'all ladies, talk to me, ladies. Talk to me. How we feeling about that? Let me see.
Tedra, you want to go first?
I mean, the whole time I'm sitting here like, boom, because the whole thing of it is that we always talk about goals, and are we really setting the goal? Because if we were clearly setting the goal, it would be, you might not hit it, but there would be movement, okay? There would be increase. So I may not always hit the goal, hit the mark, but something would be happening to allow me to get closer. And even when it feels uncomfortable, I would keep going. So it's in motion. So you might not hit that target, but you're always striving to get there. And the more you keep going, you can make the adjustments to help you get there. And if you really want it, you'll start to ask questions to somebody who's already accomplished it to help you make the necessary tweaks to get there. So, and I also love, if I could just add, when the book talks about, because you didn't say it, the book said it, about when it leads to the need. We want to always talk about the wants, but when you set the goal, it does meet your need. Because I just know for me personally, it has been happening with my business lately. You know what I mean? Like, I've been more clear with my goals and been more intentional. So it's meeting the needs that I had I didn't say the wants. I said the needs that I have. So I might not have everything I want, but the needs are starting to come to fruition. Is it comfortable? Not always, but if you want to grow, it's going to be uncomfortable. And I kind of asked for the uncomfortable so I could grow. So for me, this is like pow today because it's really hitting home personally. So I'm making this personal.
Me too. It wasn't comfortable staying up to 2. Like, I just wanted to go to sleep. But I knew, oh, this is so good. Listen to this, y'all. I knew that I had to be a little uncomfortable last night to be a little more comfortable today. In order for me to provide good service today, Sonia, I had to be uncomfortable last night when all I could think was, I just want to go to bed. I really just want to go to bed. But not only did I make what I needed to make for my customers today, so that when Paul got back from the gym, he could just wrap and go right to the post office. Because the one thing we pride ourselves is in good customer service. Like, there's something about a customer who gets their stuff right away. They like that feeling. You know how we feel when we order something from. That's why we love Amazon, right? And so I was not comfortable last night. I was tired, but and not only did I get everything prepared for this morning to go out, I then steeped the next batch. Thankfully, I did, because had I been, I would have ended on E last night, but I started getting more orders this morning. And so I would have not been able to fill those orders, or Paul wouldn't have been able to just take and continue like the process of getting those orders ready had I not started to prepare for what was to come. Right, you guys? So I had to get uncomfortable last night to be comfortable today. Now, listen to this, though. The definition of the word goal is the object of a person's ambition or effort, an aim or a desired result. I listen, not just kicking the ball into a goal or whatever. Listen to what the definition of the word goal is. The destination of a journey.
That's deep.
Listen, the destination of a journey, like, that is powerful.
That's real powerful, because it says the destination of a journey. So a journey takes time. Like, put the whole thing together. Destination of a journey, which means you're going to be on this for a while. A journey is not quick. It takes time to get there. So the destination is there, but you're going to have to go through some processes to get there, because it is a journey. And if I could just add, when I noticed, like, I started preparing like the drink early and making stuff available, believe it or not, I can attest to what you're saying. And Trey sitting behind me, I'm not lying. Like, the orders just seem to keep coming when you're prepared, because it's like I'm already expecting something to happen.
Y'all, here's another definition of the word goal, and then Sonia, you can come on. The result or achievement toward which effort is directed. I don't think we spend enough time looking up the definition of the words we say every single day, because I don't know, y'all. This is so bomb to me. Come on, Sonia, what you got for us today? She over there, hallelujah, and I can see you over there like, whoa.
No, I really liked what he had to say in this chapter, because it kind of reminds me of Terry Sabel Foy Ministries. And Terry Sabel talks about when you're setting the goal, and everything that Tedra said, she took the words right out of my mouth. And that's a good thing, Tedra. But yeah, when you're setting the goal, it's got to be an active goal, you know, like you've got to like be pursuing that goal, and you just can't like, okay, I'm going to write my list of like 10 goals for the month, and you know, they'll be ready in 30 days. Yeah, they'll be accomplished, and it doesn't work that way. You have to constantly be looking at those goals, and then like what I do is you have to go back and see, you have to review your goals every single day. You have to see what's working, what's not, what you're going to have to change. And I remember Sarah Jakes Parker. Is it Parker? She's TD Jakes
Got you, Sarah.
Roberts. Well, anyway, she said that like what she was talking about, weight loss. She's talking about it is not a destination. It is not. And it just like went off in my head like ding, 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 because I'm always saying, oh, I want to lose 50 pounds, and I want to weigh 125 pounds. And so, and it's like, well, okay, well, why is that happening? Because you're thinking of it as a destination, and it's going to be a journey that you're going to have to be on for the rest of your life, and you got to make it a lifestyle, but you're the only one that can decide to make it a lifestyle, to make it a journey. And you know, the same thing with goals. Goals are always going to be, it's not a destination, it's a journey. And that just like really hit me. And then like Tedra just took it all away, because she was really good in how she answered that. So thank you.
Thank you, ladies. You know what I realized, and you're talking about weight loss, and I'm always thinking about my own journey. It wasn't what I was doing in front of people that got me in trouble. It was what I was doing behind closed doors that got me in trouble. And so what I had to do in order for me to get it together until I had the discipline enough is I removed all of the things that were distracting, would distract me from, I'm sorry, y'all. I removed all of the things that would distract me from my goal. So although I still bought things for my children, I made sure it was simply just for them. I didn't allow myself to partake in that stuff. Because the reality of it is, if you don't bring it in the house, you won't eat it. Right? You won't. And then when I got myself under control, because I went Dr. Atkins, where I took my carbs away, because I loved carbs. I loved bread. I loved potatoes. I loved rice, right? Here's the crazy thing. I can eat that stuff now because I'm disciplined and under control. I don't go over, like I know my limit. I don't go overboard with it. But it came with discipline. So what I started to do when I did start to introduce carbs back into my diet, what I did was I bought the low carb stuff. And let me tell you why I did that. I bought the low carb bread and the low carb cookies and the low, you know why? Because it came in a little box with 12 of them in there, and it cost almost $10. And in my mind, oh yeah, it's very expensive to do right? But it is more expensive to be sick. And so I bought the like low carb because it taught me discipline. That's what really helped, because I didn't reward myself with that stuff until after I lost my first almost 50 pounds. And then I bought like the low carb cookies and low carb. I didn't even know they had like low carb Hawaiian punch and all that kind of stuff. And then I got to a point where I didn't want it at all. I started drinking like flavored water. But the box of low carb cookies, it was 12 cookies in the box. It was almost $10. Well, you're not going to sit at one setting and eat the whole box of cookies at $10 a box. You see what I'm saying? So for me, it was like I would take one to satisfy that thing I needed, but I waited until I got myself under control, because the only person I would have been cheating and lying to was myself. It wasn't what I was doing in public that got me in trouble. It was what I was doing behind the closed doors that would get me in trouble. And then it was a spiritual journey, right? I don't think that enough people realize that the road to weight loss, getting it right, is a spiritual journey. It really is a spiritual journey. And so, all right, ladies, I'm not going to kick you out. I'm just going to take you back down. You're going to still stay in the studio. So if you want to come back up, just kind of like wave me down. But it's 6:45, so we're going to be done in a few minutes. So your first, oh, this is so good. And I just said this word. Your first order of business. Oh no, let me go back. You create goals based on your desired outcomes that start as thoughts in your mind. For example, I'd like to make enough to donate $10,000 to my favorite charity, or I want to take a trip to Europe, right? But without a plan of attack to achieve those goals, they have a much less chance of becoming a reality. Your first order of business is to figure out what you're willing to tolerate to meet your goals. What you're willing to tolerate becomes the standards that you must implement. Standards are the actions linked to your thoughts. And the thoughts you have related to your goals. So let's say it again. Standards are the actions linked to the thoughts you have related to your goals. I'm going to read that again because that's powerful, but it could be a little tongue twister, right? Standards are the actions linked to the thoughts you have related to your goals. Because what? Thoughts become what? Words become thoughts, and thoughts become actions. So basically, we begin to move based on what we're thinking, which is why he says what you think leads to what you need, or as the Bible would say, as a man thinketh, so is he, right? So it says, creating goals, implement standards are the, standards are the actions. Standards are the actions linked to the thoughts you have related to your goals. Creating goals without creating corresponding standards is a waste of time. Your standards must be even more intentional than the goals that you create. Think of your goals as the byproducts of results of your standards. Conversely, when you put the proper standards in place, you have a much better chance of achieving your goals. When you put the proper standards in place. The other thing is you can't always control the outcome of your goals. You will fail at achieving some of them, and you should. For goals to be meaningful, they must be difficult and challenging. However, you can control your standards because they are internal and they rest entirely on you and how much you're willing to invest. With that distinction made, you already have a sense of why goals are important. But in my opinion, some of the thinking about goals and how to create meaningful and achievable goals for your life is entirely wrong. So I'm going to help you guys with this one. I just remember, and I don't know why, I don't know, tonight, I guess we're going to talk about the journey, the battle. Weight is such a battle for so many people. And it's such a battle because I know that people have it all wrong. And I'm gonna help you on this one. I learned in my journey to having a more healthy mindset towards food, right? That if we keep in mind, this is going to help so many people. And I believe this is going to free so many people up. Food is when you eat a meal, it is never supposed to make you tired. Because we should never, I'm going to say this again. Somebody ought to write this in the chat. We should never eat until we're full. Food is fuel for your body. And it is supposed to give you a little fuel to go to the next, to continue the next set of activities that you've got for the day. You're never supposed to sit and feel like you got to clean the plate. That is an emotional issue. That is not, because our bodies literally, even as small as I am, I could go without eating and I would not die for a little while, because there is still natural body fat that I've got. I would look all withered and shriveled up, but you should never be going to eat. I'm trying to free somebody. You should never eat until you're full. Never. That is not what food was intended for. It is our mindset that feels like we got to eat it all up. And then we got to go back for more. We got to supersize it. And then we think because we're chewing slow that makes it better. No, it doesn't. Not if we're eating way past our portion. And also, just because it's good for you doesn't mean that you should overdo it with something that's good for you. And when you start changing your mind and start freeing your mind of those thoughts and trying to figure out, well, why and not just that, what I did, Tedra, is instead of eating and picking the wrong things, eating emotionally, I took it out on the track. I found things to take it. So you know what, for me, as I look back now, and I really been taking time to like pick apart what I did when I was really going through the journey of losing the weight. And I think about it now. I was going through a divorce, right? My credit was all jacked up. And I realized I had just started the profession of network marketing. And what I did, Tedra, was I made that the healthy distraction because it was healthy. As I was building the business, I was building myself, I was building my mind and the people around me. I wasn't faking when I was talking to those people, faking when I was training those people. I was becoming so that I could then infect. I was becoming so that I could infect the people that were connected to me. And so I really hope that this helps somebody that may not understand that perhaps your whole relationship with food is out of whack, because we should never be eating to get full. We should always understand now that food is fuel. It's fuel. And I mean, I've gotten to watch people around me and the way the things they choose to eat, because it still is our choice. So Tedra, you know, I lived at 77th and Ogons in Philadelphia. Well, anybody that know anything about 77th and Ogons, they know that at the corner on Ogons Avenue was a place called Pagano's Cheesesteaks. Y'all, now I'm gonna tell you, a grown man can't finish a whole Pagano's cheesesteak, okay? Because if you do, that's just some straight up gluttony. But let me tell you what I used to do. Because when I decided I was going no carbs, and on nights that everybody, Kimberly Rogers knows what I'm talking about. She lives up in that side of town, right? Everybody was going to come over on the weekends and everybody wanted to order Pagano's cheesesteaks. You know what I would do, Tedra? I would ask them to make the cheesesteak, but put mine on a bed of lettuce. And I would wrap mine in that, and I would eat the meat and not the bread, because there's still a way to make the better choice. There's always a choice. McDonald's serves salads. Chick-fil-A sells salads and grilled nuggets, right? There's always a better choice. We just don't choose the better choice. And so I don't want to start another part where at 6:53, I'm gonna bring you ladies back up to the stream before we end out, because I believe that this book, if we allow it, will free a lot of people, including me, right? Free a lot of people. And as I think about it, it says creating goals without creating corresponding standards is a waste of time. Let's talk about it, because for a long time before I started reading this book, I thought that goals and standards pretty much were the same thing. In my brain, they were the same thing, but this is saying, no, they're very, very two different things, but you can't have one without the other. Talk about it, Tedra.
And that was a powwow, because until you actually linked it together, I kind of was saying in my mind, and I said it out loud too, as you were saying it, if my standards are bad, how can I set a good goal? You know what I mean? So and it all goes back to the thinking, and whether you're saying it the way he's saying it here, or we use the Bible, as a man or woman thinketh, so is he. So my standards come from my thinking. Standards could come from how we grew up. However, as I develop and I stay in more personal development and my mind changes, my standards should change and my goals should coincide. My standards should match kind of my goals. So if I have a standard that I want to, for example, move to a better neighborhood, then that goal is going to kind of match that, because I'm going to do what I need to do to make it happen, or at least be in pursuit to be on the track to make it happen. So they do link. You really can't have one without the other. And if you have poor standards, you're going to have poor goals, because it all goes back to the mind. So it all coincides together. So it's really deep how he puts it all together. And when you just think about the title of this book, if we just do one more, like I keep rehearsing that in my mind, just one more. Sometimes we don't want to go that extra step when it's uncomfortable, but we have to in order to take our lives in every area to the next level.
That's so good. Standards. So our standards, no, I'll say it more like this. And Sonia, you could tell me whether you agree or not. I mean, we really don't have to agree, but just tell me how you feel. Not agree, because that's not a good word. Standards. A lot of times I've seen people have higher standards for how they expect other people to act, but don't have high standards for themselves. What do you think about that, Sonia? How do you feel about that?
I completely agree with that, because before I got into network marketing, I worked in customer service. I worked in retail stores, and I saw quite a contradiction, and it was like some of my bosses would say more like, okay, you're going to do what I say, but then they would do like the opposite. And so a lot of us, we were confused yeah, I really liked what Tedra said right now. You have your standards, and depending on what those standards are, they're going to either make or break your goals. And like I said earlier, you got to be constantly reviewing them. But I also liked what she said is about the discipline. It's all about discipline, your mindset, and whether you can do this or not. And so I do agree with your statement, Nina. I really do.
Yeah, I started thinking about it, like, and every time I think to myself things like, well, I mean, and we'll say things like this. Well, I mean, they're a leader. They should know better. Right. And we hold people with titles at this way higher standard, but give ourselves a pat on the back all the time. And what if for 30 to 60 days, we would all hold ourselves at the same standards we hold other people at? I mean, we put the pastor up on this pedestal like they're Jesus, and they're really just a man or a woman. You know what I mean? They really are just a man or a woman. And the thing is, granted, do we believe that there's a different kind of calling on their lives and that they have to lead by example? And I am not saying that we giving them some kind of free pass to do whatever. That's not what I'm saying. But what I'm saying is that we put them on this pedestal, right? And then when they do error, which they will, they're a human being, then we fall all apart, smear their name through social media, as if all people, whether they're leaders or not, they all have a limp. We all have a limp. We all have a flaw. But I think I just get so sick of watching and hearing people loving to point blame to other people or hold them like super responsible for certain behaviors, but not hold themselves responsible for those same behaviors. You know what I mean? Tedra, I know you over there. Come with Sonia. I don't know which one of y'all want to go first, because I saw both of y'all like.
Well, what I was going to quickly. Oh, sorry, Tedra. What I was going to say quickly is yes. You have to practice. What you're doing in public. I mean, what you're doing in private, it shows what you're doing in public. It always comes out. So you can act like you're, like let's say you go to church and you're leading a ministry like women's ministry and you're all dressed up. And I'll give you an example, like Priscilla Shire said, you can be all dressed up to the nines, you're wearing your hat, you're carrying your Bible, and you're singing in the choir and you're quoting all these Bible scriptures. But then, you know, and everybody sees you that way, and they see this persona of you. But then when you go home, you're like living a shoddy life, and then you go to your prayer closet or room and you're like praying to God, but then the devil's still tormenting you because you're not really living up to, you know, what you're supposed to be doing, and people can see it, whether you realize it or not. People see it. You may think that you're fooling people, you're not.
That's so key. No, come on, Tedra. That's so key.
Listen, Sonia, you just said a mouthful, because whatever you do in the dark is coming out in the light. Like Nina was using the example of weight loss, but even when it comes to like how you speak and how you carry yourself, the stuff that you're saying to yourself in your secret place is going to show when you get around people, because they will see if you have the fortitude to withstand, or if you crumble, or how you're going to hold up. So it's like we always say, how you do anything is how you do everything, because it's going to come out some way, somehow. And no, we are not all perfect, because that's not possible. But instead of us passing judgment on the next person, we should take more time to examine ourselves, because a leader is just a person that has a higher responsibility, but it doesn't mean that they still don't have their own flaws, their own shortcomings, their own things to overcome. They just have more to deal with, I would say. You know, me being a pastor's daughter and being around that, you know, it just means you have more responsibility. It doesn't mean that you're better than, yes, your standards should be higher, but you still eat, sleep, and breathe and have issues like everybody else. It's just, how do you handle those circumstances and those situations when they come? And that will show based on what you're doing in private, whether it's food, your attitude, you know, how you handle anything is going to show itself.
Absolutely. Everything we do, whether you really have a prayer life, it shows up when adversity comes your way. Whether you what your faith level is shows up when adversity comes your way. What you do after major trauma shows up. It all shows up. And you know, I hear, well, you know, Nina, people, you know, deal with things differently. We deal with things according to the measure of our faith and the measure of our belief. And the reality of it is that I've learned is that some people like to use adversity as a crutch. But what if we, for the next 30 to 60, 90 days, practiced living up to the same standards that we place everybody else at? What would our businesses, our lives, our relationships, our bodies, what would they all look like if we lived up to the same standards we hold everybody else accountable to? You know what I mean? I just believe that if everyone would say, you know what, I'm gonna hold myself to the same standard I hold Nina at. Imagine what your life, what your business, what your everything would be like. And then that's what I think for me, I know that those were the breaking points for me when it came to my journey. For me, you guys, my weight loss was it was a spiritual journey. When you face those demons, it was a spiritual journey. And it was a journey, Sonia, that I feel. Matter of fact, my spiritual journey, Tedra, was not just for Nina Moore, but it was for every single person that's ever partnered with me. It's for every person that's partnered with me right now. Had it not been for this journey, this one right here, half of the more 3/4 of the people that are connected to me would not be connected to me had I not gone through this journey. This journey is literally what attracted people to my life, because this was a spiritual journey. This was not just about, oh, and I'm not going to eat after this time of night, and I'm not going to eat it. No, I started to allow the scale to convict me. The scale was the thing that convicted me. So maybe you guys, if you really want to move past that place in your life, put a picture of yourself, what you really look like on that refrigerator, and stop allowing yourself to buy the things that are causing you to fall prey to the things that you really are not supposed to eat, right? Jump on that scale every day and get obsessed with it. You know, we were talking about the other day on training, and it was a social media training, but we were talking about being obsessed, right? With creating good content. Get obsessed with letting that scale hold you accountable. Get obsessed with the mirror, because that mirror is not gonna lie. It's not. Get obsessed with it. And we're gonna meet again next. All right, so listen, I'm gonna make sure that if I'll be traveling. It will at least be recorded. So don't worry. There will be book club next Monday. All right. Even if you don't see me live saying there will be book club, because I think it's important that we continue to go forward with this, you guys. So we're going to go ahead and end. I don't want to go too far past 7 because we do have a training that's getting ready to start, you guys. And we're going to finish out chapter 9. And then we're going to go into chapter 10, which is so major, y'all. One more higher standard. Uh-oh. Of all the judgments we make through life, none are more important than the estimate we place on ourselves according to our own internal standards. There's that word again, Tedra. So we love you guys. There's nothing you can do about it. Thank you, ladies, for coming into the studio with me. Listen, you guys got to remember this, that no matter what's going on in your life, you must remember that you can live again, laugh again, hope again, dream again, and you most certainly can bling again. I want you to have a bling-tastic rest of your evening, a bling-tastic week. Pay it forward, do a good deed, be kind to one another. Listen, make sure you're bringing a friend to book club, you guys, and make sure that you are subscribed to Bling TV 3765. Goodbye now.